You begin life weighing about 70 pounds, born tail first into the freezing waters of the Atlantic. Your mother immediately pushes you to the surface. You take your first breath through the blowhole on top of your head, inflating your lungs for the first time. You have been born into one of the world's rarest killer whale populations, an Iberian orca. From this moment on, your survival depends on your pod. As your eyesight fades with depth and darkness, sound becomes your primary sense. A specialized organ in your forehead called the melon focuses powerful clicks into the water. The returning echoes travel through your lower jaw to your inner ear, allowing your brain to reconstruct a detailed three-dimensional image of your surroundings. Distance, size, shape, density, and even the internal structure of a fish become visible through sound. But echolocation isn't the first language you learn. Your pod has its own dialect, a unique collection of whistles and pulsed calls passed down through generations. Iberian orcas don't communicate like the populations of the Pacific or Antarctica. Their vocal repertoire identifies family, preserves social bonds, and coordinates hunting. Every calf inherits a culture before it learns to hunt. Your primary prey is Atlantic bluefin tuna, one of the fastest fish in the ocean. Adults can weigh over 1,000 pounds and maintain remarkable swimming speeds over long distances. Catching one requires coordination, not speed alone. Older pod members teach you to surround tuna, cut off escape routes, and force them toward the surface, or into confined water where they burn through their oxygen reserves. Every individual has a role. Hunting is a learned behavior, refined over decades and passed from one generation to the next. By adolescence, you weigh several tons. No animal regularly hunts you. You have reached the top of the marine food web. That position carries ecological consequences. By removing large predatory fish such as bluefin tuna, your pod limits predation on smaller fish and squid. The remains of every kill feed, sharks, seabirds, and deep-sea scavengers that rarely catch prey of their own. Nutrients released from carcasses are recycled through the food web instead of remaining locked inside a single animal. Your influence extends far beyond the moment of a hunt. Ecologists call these cascading effects top-down regulation. Apex predators shape entire ecosystems by changing the abundance and behavior of the animals below them. Then another challenge appears. Your brain is the second largest on Earth, and your cerebral cortex is exceptionally folded, increasing its surface area for information processing. Intelligence demands stimulation. Unlike hunger, boredom leaves no visible wound. One afternoon, a long shadow glides overhead. A sailing boat. It doesn't resemble prey. It produces no heartbeat, no electrical signal, and no scent that triggers a hunt. But something beneath it moves. The rudder. As the boat advances, water flows across the rudder, generating powerful hydraulic pressure. You press it with your rostrum. It pushes back. It vibrates. Every change in the boat's speed changes the force against your body. For an animal with an enormous brain, that feedback is unusually stimulating. One explanation is the play hypothesis. The rudder behaves like an interactive object in an environment with very few manipulable structures. It responds to every nudge, creating a form of tactile play rarely found in the open ocean. Another possibility is that the interaction doubles as practice. Your pod specializes in hunting Atlantic bluefin tuna. A tuna's powerful tail generates resistance remarkably similar to a moving rudder, approaching from behind, applying body weight, and twisting with precise leverage are the same movements used to control large, struggling prey. Repeating those motions may strengthen skills that later determine whether a hunt succeeds. There is also a third hypothesis. Researchers have suggested that the behavior may have originated after a negative encounter with humans. One widely discussed possibility centers on an adult female known as white Gladis, who may have been injured by a vessel or entangled in fishing gear. If an individual learned that disabling the boat's steering stopped the threat, younger orcas could have copied the behavior through social learning. In that case, striking the rudder would function as a defensive response rather than an attempt to attack people. None of these explanations are mutually exclusive. For a young Iberian orca, the rudder can be a toy, a training device, or a way to investigate a potential danger. You press harder. The rudder fractures. Without steering, the boat slows. Water pressure disappears. The interaction ends. The people aboard report an attack. You experienced an object that reacted. Humans search for intention. They describe coordinated revenge, organized attacks, even an uprising. The evidence points somewhere else. You are among the few non-human animals known to develop cultural traditions that spread socially rather than genetically. New behaviors can move through a population as individuals observe and imitate one another. The rudder interactions follow that pattern. Young Iberian orcas repeatedly investigate the same part of sailboats. The behavior spreads between peers, appears in specific family groups, and changes over time, exactly as cultural behaviors do in other highly intelligent animals. You didn't target boats because they were enemies. You targeted the only moving object in your environment that pushed back.